back to our channel. Today, we are going to explore Canada, the second largest country in the world, home to breathtaking landscapes, rich history, and the friendliest people you'll ever meet. From the longest border in the world to iconic personalities, delicious food, and fascinating traditions, let's dive into everything that makes Canada amazing. Our segment 1 is Canada and the longest border in the world. All right, let's start with something massive. Literally. Did you know Canada and the US share the longest border in the world? It stretches 8,891 kilometers, 5,525 miles. That's like driving from New York to Los Angeles and then doing it all over again, twice. And what's even crazier? There's no fence. Nope, just a giant imaginary line running through forests, lakes, and even a library in the town of Derbyline, Vermont, where one half of the building is in Canada and the other is in the US. Imagine returning a book and accidentally leaving the country. Segment number 2 is Canadian history. Okay, history lesson, but fun, I promise. Canada wasn't just born in 1867. Long before Europeans showed up in their fancy ships, Indigenous peoples had been living here for over 12,000 years. Then the French and British came along, fought a bunch, drank some tea, signed some papers, and bam, Canada! But here's the kicker. Canada only became fully independent from Britain in 1982. Yep, we had color TVs before we had full control of our own constitution. Priorities, eh? Our segment number 3 is Provinces and Territories. Canada's giant puzzle pieces. Canada isn't just a big cold blob. It's made up of 10 provinces and 3 territories, each with its own personality. British Columbia. Stunning mountains and laid-back vibes. Alberta, where cowboys and oil rigs coexist peacefully. Quebec. French-speaking, croissant-loving, and a little sassy. And then there's Nunavut, the biggest and least populated place, where polar bears probably outnumber humans. Seriously, you could walk for days and only meet a few Arctic hares, and maybe a very confused tourist. Segment 4, Money Talks, Canada's colorful cash. If monopoly money and actual money had a baby, it would be Canadian currency. Our bills are bright, waterproof, and even have see-through windows. But here's the real shocker. Canada stopped making pennies in 2013. If your bill comes to $9.99, you either round up or down. Basically, every time you pay, it's a mini lottery on whether you save or lose a cent. The real jackpot? Not having to carry pennies that somehow always end up at the bottom of your couch. Here is our segment 5, Famous Canadians, more than just nice people. Canada has given the world some seriously cool people. Music, Drake, Celine Dion, The Weeknd, and even Justin Bieber. Yep, sorry, world. That one's on us. In movies, we've got Ryan Reynolds, Keanu Reeves, and Rachel McAdams. And don't even get me started on Wayne Gretzky. This guy wasn't just good at hockey, he was so good they literally call him the Great One. Also, fun fact, Jim Carrey is Canadian, which explains why we laugh so much. Segment number 6 is Canada's insane nature, bears, mountains, and the Northern Lights. Canada is like that one friend who's ridiculously good-looking, but never brags about it. We've got the Rocky Mountains, endless forests, over 2 million lakes, and Niagara Falls, which is basically nature's way of saying, look how awesome I am. And don't even get me started on the Northern Lights. It's like the sky decided to throw a glow-in-the-dark party. Oh, and yes, we have bears. Lots of them. In Churchill, Manitoba, polar bears roam so freely that locals leave their car doors unlocked in case someone needs a quick escape. Only in Canada. Segment 7, Canadian culture, a mix of A and sorry. Canadians are known for being absurdly polite. We say sorry, even when it's not our fault. You bump into a Canadian, they'll apologize. You cut them off in traffic, they'll apologize to you. And then there's our obsession with Tim Hortons coffee. This place is practically a national landmark. We love it so much. There was a guy who was arrested for robbing a Timmy's, but before running away, he made sure to grab his coffee. Priorities. Our segment 8 is Canadian food, more than just maple syrup. Yes, Canada is the land of maple syrup, but let's talk about our other deliciously weird foods. Poutine, fries covered in cheese curds and gravy, is basically the food version of a hug. Then we have butter tarts, which are tiny pastry cups filled with sugary goodness. And let's not forget ketchup chips and Nanaimo bars, because nothing says Canada like snacks that make no sense but taste amazing. Here is the segment 9, the weather. It's always a surprise. Let's address the frozen elephant in the room. Yes, Canada gets cold. But here's the real challenge. Canadian weather is unpredictable. You wake up to sunshine, by noon it's snowing, and by dinner it's raining. We've mastered the art of layering clothes because Mother Nature keeps us on our toes. And in some places, winter temperatures hit -40 degrees Celsius or -40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's your eyelashes freeze to your face levels of cold. Last but not least, segment number 10 is why Canada is one of the best places to live. Canada consistently ranks as one of the best places to live in the world. Why? Free healthcare, low crime rates, and a love for diversity. We welcome immigrants with open arms, have world-class cities like Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, and take our wildlife protection seriously. Oh, and we have universal healthcare, so if you slip on ice while petting a moose, which by the way you should never do, you won't go broke fixing your broken arm. And at the end, we have some more interesting facts for you about Canada. Do you know Canada has a UFO landing pad? Yep. In St. Paul, Alberta, they built a landing pad specifically for aliens in 1967. So, if little green men decide to visit, we're ready. And Santa Claus is officially Canadian. No joke. Canada claims the North Pole. And if you write a letter to Santa Claus North Pole, H0H0H0 Canada, the Canadian Postal Service will actually send you a reply. And yes, they have elves for that. Next, there's a town called Dildo. Not kidding. It's in Newfoundland. And yes, they embrace the name. They even have a festival called Dildo Days. Canada, where the humor is as cold as the winters. Next, they have the wackiest laws. It's illegal to paint a wooden ladder in Alberta, and in Ontario, you can't whistle in public on Sundays. So if you're painting a ladder while whistling on a Sunday, watch out. You might just be breaking all the rules. So, what have we learned today? Always leave your car door unlocked in polar bear country, just in case. And if you've ever accidentally apologized to a chair after bumping into it, you might just be Canadian at heart. So that's Canada in a nutshell. Big, beautiful, polite, and occasionally frozen solid. What's your favorite thing about Canada? Drop a comment below. And if you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to say sorry at least once today, just for good measure. Thanks for watching. See you in the next adventure.